Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Just getting a bit of silage here because I'm going to feed the cows. I've given them a couple of scoops, just going to give them a little bit more. And if we just take a quick look through, what are we up to now? Yeah, so they've got about 7,900. They've hardly got any grass at all. We're going to set up the other robot feeder for them today, but we do need to put straw in for the pigs and for the cows. We can spoon a bit in for there. The cleanliness is down, and we'll go up and we'll set the robot feeder going for the pigs up there. So my question that I asked you all last week was, do you want me to start running Sosnovka as a fully organic farm? And hang on, I just got to oop, I don't want to climb up there. Right, just put that there like that. Right, so I had 1,486 responses to that particular question. And 249 of you said that you don't want me to run it as an organic farm, and 1,237 of you said yes, you do want it as an organic farm. So I get the I get the sort of the suspicion, I get the feeling that most of you do want it to be an organic farm. I don't know where I'm getting that idea from, but anyway. So we will run this as an organic farm, which means that our fertilizer spreader that's in there, we're going to go and sell it. I know some people did actually point out that there are such a thing as organic fertilizers, but for the sake of keeping it all simple, I'm choosing not to say that we've got organic fertilizer. I'm just going to assume that the fertilizer is non-organic, and if we want to do this organically, we're going to need to use either slurry or manure. We also will be buying a weeder so that we can weed all the fields in the first growth stage. That's quite an important part of it, and I think it's only in the first growth stage. So like in our field, field 19, we've got a little strip around the edge that is now in the second growth stage, which is already in the first growth stage, but the rest of it isn't. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. It's probably not going to be ideal. Now, can I put the straw in here? I've got to stop climbing up over that. We tip it right out like that. Tip it on the cows' backs. No, we can't put the straw inside here. We've got to take the straw around the back. We do have it raining inside the sheds. I'm not very happy. Oh, wait, it's kind of hail / snow, kind of a sleety type number that's going on here. I don't like it, whichever way it is. So where do you put the straw in for the... Have you just got to put the straw in the front? I can't remember now. But no, I think we do actually just tip it into the front. The same place that we tip the silage and stuff. I think you just tip it here and it transports across. Yeah, you tip it over where the feeding trough is, which I gotta be honest, I don't particularly like that. But I mean, it's there, it's done. We've done that now. So my question for this week is, as we're now going to be running as an organic farm, we're going to need manure spreaders, slurry tanks. The weeders, I'm going to be getting that one there. But at the moment, I'm still prioritizing getting those two fields. So we've got a bit of money. I did a bit more work on the fields. But which slurry tanker? I'm going to go for slurry tanker first. And then after I've got a slurry tanker, then we can sort of move from there. So I'm going to give you several options today. And I want you to think about this very carefully, because it could have a knock-on effect onto what else I get. So we have the Garant VE 8000. Now that one is 9 meter spread. We have the Joskin. I love these unfolding ones. The Joskin, that's a 12 meter spread. That's the Modulo 2 at 36,000 euros. I'm not going to be including the Zunhammer in these questions. I would love to get that one, but I mean, really, yeah, that's not happening. Then over in the mods bit, this is just the regular mods. That one's 18,000. It's a 10 meter spread. The Fliegl VFW. We have the Marshall ST1800. That's an 11 meter spread. That's a small, cheap machine as well. That's probably the cheapest one here, actually, the 14. Yeah, no, that's the cheapest one, the 9 meter spread. That one has an 11 meter spread, so it's got a wider spread, and it's a cheaper machine. Oh, no, sorry, it's a slightly more expensive one. It's a cheaper... slightly more expensive, 2,000 euros more. It's got the same quantity in the tank, but it has a wider spread, so you cover the field a bit quicker with that one. Or I will go for the IT Runner. Now, the thing with the IT Runner, if you go for this one, the slurry container goes on the IT Runner. Now, I'll show you the IT Runner. Oop, didn't want to do that. If I go for the IT Runner, if that's the one that wins, we get this one here. We're going to have to buy that for 55,000 euros. It is quite expensive starting out, but it does have the other options that we can use. You've got the grain container, you've got the skip, which carries most stuff as well. But then, if that one does win, we will get this IT Runner slurry container. It's a 15,000 litre one, and it's got a 12 metre spread on it. That again is a little bit expensive, but I will also then, I won't be asking a question about which manure spreader to use. I will default and use the IT Runner one for that as well, and I'll use other IT Runner options that we've got that we can use when they come up. So yeah, think about this very carefully. I mean, the card should have come up by now. Think about this very carefully, but you've got a wide selection today. You've got the Garant cot, the Joskin modulo, the Fliegl VFW, the Marshall ST. Actually, it's different makes for all of them. So we've got the Garant, we've got the Joskin, we've got the Fliegl, we've got the Marshall, or we've got the IT Runner. So you've got a choice of, you've got 5 different choices there. It's your vote, it's your game. Head into the comments section, discuss why you're voting for what you're voting for. I think this could be quite interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts as to why we should get one over any of the others. I don't really know which one I favour, to be honest. I usually do like to say, well, sometimes I say which one I would personally go for, but I really don't know. I mean, I like the idea of the IT Runner because there's so many options for it, but it's pricey. I also like the idea of the Joskin one, but that again is pricey. The small Marshall one, the one at the end of the list, that one's quite good. I mean, I like the look of that one, but on the other hand, it's a small tank, so we'll be forever going backwards and forwards. Yeah, there's pros and cons to all of them. Really not sure which one you'd prefer. Right, I am going to go up to the shop, and the next thing I'm going to do is buy the robot feeder. Right, I'm just picking up the feeder. I've bought it and unloaded it, bought it and unfolded it, and that one, there we go. Right, so that is latched up onto the machine, and you can't actually, you've got to press G so that the actual Kramer itself lights up so that you can move it around on the control, which I didn't realise the first time when we bought the other one. So what we'll do is we'll take this one back to the yard, and then we'll set this one up in the right position for the cattle, and then we will go between the two and we'll set them both going. So if you remember, I said that, because I don't normally like to show tabbing between machines because it breaks the realism. However, tabbing between this one and the other one, or tabbing up to the other robot feeder, I think is quite realistic because, I mean, you wouldn't actually physically go to it in real life, but you would bring up your PDA on your phone and activate it. I mean, these things can be operated from a phone. I know a farmer who has one of these, and he can turn it on with his phone. He usually has it on a timer, so that it goes up and down at a set time of the day. I think it runs for an hour or two during the day, and then it runs for another hour or two later in the evening or something like that. But it is entirely possible to do this via the phone. If he wants to change the schedule, or if he wants to set it going for an extra amount of time, something like that, he will do it via his phone, which is absolutely incredible. He can go and he can turn on a robot that is working on his farm with his phone. I mean, what an age to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. What an age to be alive. That is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. So, yeah, I feel that tabbing between the machines is actually quite acceptable. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this one just here, and then we'll position it over by the trough like we did with the pigs. Get it lined up and ready. And if I lower it down a bit further, there we go, and take it off. Sort of spits the thing off, really, doesn't it? Right. Now, we ought to be able to do this fairly quickly. I'm going to bring up the help on there, so we press enter to get it started, and then, in order to make it work, I just want to come over and I bring it like this, so it's just going forwards. And I can stop it right there. That is, I think, in pretty much the right place. I've got to make sure that my steering wheel is absolutely dead straight. And angle at 500. Did we want 500? I think we go for slightly more than that, don't we? We go, yeah, if we go 750, Let's just bring it forward a little bit further. I think that's okay. It might have to go in a little bit closer. You use the... Oop. Okay, so that's not straight. So you can at least see exactly where it's lined up to. With... You turn the indicators on. This is what's doing this bit. You use the indicators. And... There, right. Now, if I turn my indicator off... I'm hoping, if I put the hired help going, it should work. It's a little bit rougher here than it is over with the pigs, and I noticed that when I'm... oh, okay, so 750 is not anywhere near enough down here. I do notice that when I'm cleaning it manually, up with the Kramer, up by the pigs, it's actually quite easy to clean. Whereas down here, it's not easy by any means, because of the slightly rough bit there. You got to go back and forth quite a few times with the Kramer in different angles and so on in order to get it just right. Right, so if we go to 1,000, is that going to be enough? Is it going to reach all the way over? Press H. I don't think we're going to need GPS. Right, another 250. Yeah, not quite. It's not quite enough, is it? So if I stop it when it gets back to the middle again, I'll change it so this one is on 1,250. So I press Y again. That should then be enough. So we can leave that one going. And now if I tab up to the next one, so we've gone up here, we've used our PDA to do this. And I come back to the middle, and I don't know if you've got to reset it, or it remembers the settings. So then I press H and set that one going. So we got both of our robots running now. This is excellent. I really love this. I absolutely love this part of the game. Right, so grass at the moment we got 486 because of the stuff that they threw out the front. The cleanliness will catch up in a minute. Let's just make sure that this one's working properly. Yes, it is. Excellent. Right, so I'll tab back down to this one and I will climb out of it. That one's just going to carry on. And it doesn't use, if you look at the money up in the top, it doesn't actually cost any money to run these things. You can just set them going and then they stay going. So obviously I don't have them running all the time, but you just seen there a little bit of grass has come up and it should just clean it up in just a sec. Go back through and it's cleaning that up quite nicely. Excellent. It's working perfectly. So cleanliness 100% on both of them. Pigs are at 95% because we don't have any of those, and we need power food for the cattle. They're only at 72%. Power food, oh, that's because of the power food. Power food gives 30% on it. So we really do need to, we've got straw. We need to get some hay for the cattle. This isn't really hay-making weather, though. That field there, we can't really do a lot to that one. I won't be doing any extra fertilizer. I got a feeling that the weeder does actually work in other stages than just the first growth stage. However, technically it's not supposed to. It's supposed to only be for the first growth stage. You wouldn't use a weeder on bigger plants because you just damage the plants. So even if the game allows it, I'm not actually going to do it. I'm going to choose not to do that. So the rest of the fields are ready for using the weeder, so that's going to be the next thing we're going to do. I'm going to drive up, I'm going to get the weeder, and I'm also going to change my tyres. Now, we don't have a garage on this map. We've got a garage on Goldcrest, which is kind of... I mean, it's alright now that we've bought some tractors, or bought a tractor, so we'll use it a bit. But this one, we're not going to be able to do that, so we're going to have to change to care wheels up at the shop, which is going to cost us $1,000, euros rather, every time that we do it. But anyway, I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to go and get the care wheels on, and I'm going to buy the weeder, and I think we'll go up to the top and we'll start working the fields at the top before we come back down here. One thing I've found on the time-lapse map when I'm changing the tyres over on a regular basis, you do actually need to take the weight off of the tractor, and it doesn't like you having the weight on there before you change the tyres over. So we go there, park up, and then we come over to this bit and press R. We click on Customize, and then we go Narrow Tyres. Right, that's 600 euros to buy them. I don't know if... I think once you've bought them once, you get to keep them after that, and so you don't get any changes. But that's going to be... And then you've got to pay 1,000 euros for them to actually do it for you. Engine setup. We could actually change our engine from 127 up to 140. So we get an extra 20 horsepower on our tractor if we wanted to for 10 grand. We're not going to do that today though, so we'll just customize that for 1,600 euros. And I am hoping that next time we do it, we just pay the... I can't remember if we do or we don't. Right, I've got to come out of there and then go back to it. Right. I go back to customize. Standards. Right, it costs 1,000 to do it each time. So we would have to do it 25 times in order to... Well, actually, I suppose... Technically, it would only be 12 times because we would go to it and change them to the care tyres, the row crops. Then we would go back and do it with... change them back to standard. So that would be kind of once, really, but we're paying the price twice. So 25,000... You would need to do it 13 times in order to be worth buying the garage, because it's 25,000. I think it is. It's 25? I'm sure it's... Oh no, it's 28. So we'd have to do it 14 times to pay for itself, which is it's quite a few times. So I'm not sure that we would be doing it that often. And what was I looking for? I was looking for a weeder, wasn't I? We want a weeder. That's 34,000 euros. We were almost at the position that we would be buying a new field. No longer. We will just have to wait a little bit longer for our new field. So let me just leap into here. We're going to end up doing quite a bit of weeding, I feel. This is going to be something that we're going to be getting used to doing. It does actually do it fairly quickly. It's slow to move along the... it is slow to sort of move along the field. However, it's not too bad. Because it's such a wide weeder, it's pretty good. I haven't used the bigger one yet. And I've not done very much with sowing the oilseed radish either. But, I mean, we can talk about that in a minute. We're going to go up to the top now, and... Let me just turn my beacon on. We're going to go up to the top, and we're going to start weeding the new fields that we've made up here. Yeah, just coming up alongside the playground here, and there is our brand new field that we've made. Now then, I'm going to be out of cab doing this, I think, so that we can see what we're doing. And first of all, we just want to unfold this beast. It is absolutely huge once it's all unfolded. It's quite impressive. Look at that. It's such a wide width on it. It does go fairly slow in the field, but I mean the width of the thing, it does mean that you can cover quite a lot of land. Now I've had some people asking me, how do I deal with like odd shaped fields? I mean, I'm not doing any odd shaped fields at the moment because we're not playing on those sorts of maps. However, I do get people asking, how can I deal with odd shaped fields? And I always find the best way is to do once or twice round the field yourself, and then set the hired help going. And you set it so that the runs on the field they get bigger each time, not smaller. And if they get bigger each time, the hired help can deal with it a lot better. It's able to cope with expanding with an increase in the length of the run. It's not able to cope very well with decreasing the length of the run. It's just the way that the hired help works. It's a little bit odd like that, but it is quite possible to do it without any assistance from GPS. You can do it with just the standard hired help in the game reasonably well. I have done it quite a lot before I started using mods much more extensively. Now I'm going to turn the hired help on a minute, and you'll notice here that I had quite a bit of trouble with this field when I was sowing the seed. Big patches, the seeder just didn't like it. And I was thinking of stopping and showing you guys, but I thought, no, I won't. I'll just show you the sort of the end results, and you can see how rough it is there in patches. This is kind of the cost of us setting up this field like this. And just come back up like this. Now, it's hailing at the moment. It's not snow and it's not rain, it's hail. I really don't know if you would normally run a weeder in this kind of weather, because I've never used a weeder like this. I have used a weeder that involved flames. You had gas bottles on the top, and it would go along and it would burn the plants, and then the established plants were better able to take a singeing than the weeds. It does sound actually very cool, this burning the plants as you go along, and I thought, wow. When the guy that I was working for told me all about it, he ran an organic farm, actually. That's why we were using that, not herbicides or anything. I thought, wow, that sounds incredible. I'm going to turn the hired help on here so it can work away. I thought that sounds amazing. It's going along and it's burning it all. yeah, it's actually really, really dull because you've got to travel along slower than what this tractor is moving now. You go very, very slowly, and it's sort of this, like, kind of looks like a topper, you know, a grass topper with just a flat. Basically, you've got a flat piece of metal behind you, and all the good stuff is going on underneath it, and you can't see anything. So you light it up, and then you get in the tractor and you start driving along, and all you can't see anything, you can't hear anything. It's really, really, really dull. I was not. What do you mean you haven't completed your task? You've got a whole field down there. Okay, I don't know why Helper J feels that she doesn't need to do any more. But we will try again, and we will see who we got this time. Who have we got this time? If I bring the map up a minute, it'll tell us. Is that? Oh, that's Helper I this time. Hopefully Helper I will feel more inclined to complete the task properly than Helper J did. We'll see. Get down to the end, and then we can sort of find out. So anyway, that's how you deal with odd-shaped fields. Or fields that you've ploughed, because what I tend to do a lot is I plough the fields a lot bigger, and then the hired help doesn't have room to turn on the headlands, and it struggles with it quite a bit. Do once round the field yourself, maybe even twice if you've got smaller implements. Do twice round the field, then set the hired help going. I know that it can sometimes take a while to sort of set it going, but it is definitely worth it. I mean, even if you do what I do quite a lot, I set the hired help. I line it up down the side of the field, and then I engage the hired help so that they run a nice straight line for me down the edge of the field. And then when it gets down near the end, I disengage the hired help and I take over to sort of do the corners and that. And so I nurse it on one complete round on the field. And then after that, then I can just leave the hired help to carry on, and I don't need to worry about it. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to finish this field a minute, and then we'll move down into that field down there so that we can get that one going as well. And before next episode, I will have taken this back and I will have done our other field. Field 19. Field 14, like I said, has gone on to the next growth stage, so we've missed our window there. So we're not going to be able to get anything else on. I don't want to be spreading slurry on the fields when they are... when the plants are already growing. Okay, that's one thing I'm not going to be doing, because you wouldn't normally do that with a crop. You wouldn't normally spread slurry over onto a crop unless it was on this kind of growth stage. Later than this, you wouldn't spread slurry or manure onto a field, because it tends to stay with the crop and it can have an effect when you come to harvest it. So you wouldn't really want to do that. So field 14, we just escape a minute and we'll come through and we'll see what stage of fertilizer we've got. Growth, soil, comes right. We still need to plough 14, so we'll do that next. So 14 has actually got 2 stages of fertilizer on it, by the look of it. This field here, we got 3 stages there and 2 stages up there. This one here looks like it'll end up with 3 stages of fertilizer as well. So we've got most of it has been fertilized. We've got another job on each of those. And oh, incidentally, I did say that I would go through and I would do, because I did sugar beet there. This one came up as sugar beet as well. I was quite surprised, actually. So we got sugar beet on both of these fields. And my plan is still to try and buy them before harvest time and then harvest them for ourselves. That's not a guarantee, though. I don't know if we'll actually be able to do that. I'd probably end up having to do quite a bit of work down here. This one is still... they're still harvested. So, I mean, we might come in tomorrow and do a bit of work on field 23. Maybe I'll do a little bit of time-lapse on that one for you. And that could earn us a bit of extra money. These fields are both around about 60,000 each. So... I do have that to contend with. We've got quite a bit of money that we're going to have to fork out for those 2 fields. Right, that should be just about it. Right, Helper I was much more helpful. So let's fold the weeder back up. I do like the look of this thing as it folds up. It does look pretty cool as it's folding up like that, I think. Right. We'll go on down to the next field, and I'll set that one going. Now, because this one's got some quite steep bits, I'm not actually sure how the weeder is going to cope with that. Just going up and down the steep bits, it'd be fine, but going sideways, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deliberately find the most awkward position to start in to see how the weeder copes with it. So what we'll do is we come down to the bottom here, because going in a straight line down over the field, I can't see that would be an issue. But it's going along this bottom bit. This, I think, is the bit that is going to be more difficult for the weeder to cope with. So that's the bit that I want to see. It's also at a slight angle, so we'll do this manually. And right, see, look at that. Now, in 15, if you did this, it just wouldn't cope with it at all. Oh, sweet! It actually bends to the contours of the field. And it works. That is brilliant. I don't think the Combine will do that, because the headers don't bend. So, I'm not sure what the Combine is going to do. But for this one, I'm seriously impressed with that. That is quite impressive. I like that. One of my biggest bugbears with FS15 was when you were going over rough ground with a seeder. You could have a big wide seeder that should, in theory, follow the contours of the field. But it wouldn't at all. It just would not follow the contours of the field. What it would do is it would seed absolutely nothing. It would miss the entire strip. You could have a seeder that was nearly as wide as this, and it would miss the whole strip. And that, to me, wasn't overly realistic. Or, if, you know, enough of it was touching the ground, the bit where the coulters definitely weren't, you know, obviously weren't touching the ground, they wouldn't get seeded either. I mean, to be fair, I think this game does it as well. So, yeah, we haven't really improved matters on that. Right, let's try and do this last little bit in cab. I'm going to have to go in a minute anyway, so we'll come back to our weekly question in just a moment. Remember, my topic of discussion today is the pros and cons of the various different slurry tankers that I have given you for the weekly question. And let me come over here. Very, very difficult lining up in the cab, because obviously, I mean, I've said this before, the reason it's difficult is not because it's difficult to line it up in the cab, it's because you don't have the depth of you don't have the depth in the game. You're looking at a 2D rendering of a 3D environment, and because you don't actually have the physical depth there, it's quite difficult to precisely line up where the different bits of the machine is going. Oh, hang on. No, I could go a little bit. No, we'll do it like this. I'm going to use the hired help now, and we're going to go up and down the hill, I think. I got enough done. When you can sort of line it up, you can kind of see reasonably well, but it is difficult. Right, we've got a hired help going now. Hopefully, they can cope with this job. I have every faith in them that they can do it. In the meantime, we will take a quick look in here. My weekly question for this week is, which slurry tanker do you want me to get? Do you want me to get this Garant, which is a 9-metre spread, 12,000 euros? The Joskin, with the unfoldable booms that basically ground injection, 12-metre spread. Do you want me to use the Fliegl, which is a 10.4-metre spread? Do you want me to use the Marshall with an 11-metre spread, 14,000 euros, so slightly bigger than the smallest one? Or do you want me to use the IT Runner, which will involve buying the IT Runner trailer? If I get the IT Runner, if that's the one that you choose, that will also decide which manure spreader that we're going to get. We will get the one that goes with the IT Runner, and we will try to use the IT Runner wherever possible. So it's your vote, it's your game. Mouse over the screen up here to cast your vote, and head into the comment section to tell us why you're voting for what you're voting for. Before my next episode, I will have completed this field. I was talking previously about getting the Kirovets, and quite a few people did think that I should get that one. That is still on my to-do list. It's actually moved down a little bit on my to-do list because of the money. It cost 78,000 for that one, and I'm still prioritising buying those two fields, Field 15 and Field 20. So, yeah, we might actually do a bit of work in our next episode on Field 23 to earn enough money to buy Field 15 and 20. However, we then need to get the money to harvest the sugar beets, so I'm still torn on that one as to whether I should do it soon enough to harvest the sugar beet for ourselves. I'm not quite sure. That's still to be decided. I'm still making my mind up on that. But anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.